Hi everyone, I'm Wade here with Esports News UK, and I'm taking a moment here to talk to ODPixel, also known as Owen, about his casting career within the UK. So thanks for taking the time today for this.
No worries, my pleasure.
So obviously just starting out, like how did you start out in the UK? Like what was it like at the beginning, mainly within the UK scene of casting Dota?
So I think initially it started off with me doing like some online casting for like kind of the small UK Dota lands. I can't remember like what like the exact brands and like orgs were, but I think it was tied in with like ESL and tied in with like I believe like Insomnia, which is a big UK LAN. I don't know I think it still is. I don't know if they still do them, but back then it was like Insomnias, which I think were by like Multiplay. And so I was doing like online stuff for them. To very small audiences, but it was really nice. It was super fun, super cozy. It would be like 30 to 50 viewers, but the people that watched and listened really enjoyed it. And then I would start to get invites to go to places. I think like ESL had like a small studio in Leicester, which was very close to where I lived, quite conveniently. And they would do like little weekend tournaments, and I get to go out to the studio and like actually get to cast on like a proper setup, which was really cool because up until that point I'd just been doing it from my bedroom. So yeah, early days were with like ESL and Multiplay, getting to actually do stuff in studios and do stuff even in front of small crowds.
So like at the beginning there, it was very much a tight-knit community, everyone kind of knew everyone, and...
Yeah, pretty much. But it was also a community which I didn't necessarily find it very difficult to get into. Everyone was really nice, at least from my experience. Like, I didn't really have any friends who already played Dota before I casted it. So it wasn't like I was already kind of like playing or involved in these tournaments before I started casting. I was just quite lucky that I kind of put myself forward and say, hey, I'm going to try casting these smaller tournaments. And then initially I had my friend Wakey, who was also getting into it with me, and we did a few events and online things together. And then there was another caster called Joe Show, who I did a lot of early stuff with, and he was very nice and gave me a lot of help in terms of getting to some of these events, because he was more on the scene. Like, he knew a lot of the crowd. He'd been going to these events as like a fan, so he kind of helped me get in. But for myself, I was kind of straight in on the casting front, which was super nice, and yeah, everyone was really pleasant.
Okay, that's really nice. So just sticking with the UK still, do you have any like memories or like your favourite events that you've done in the UK, from the small ones like the Epic LAN and Insomnia, all the way up to like ESL 1 Birmingham?
Yeah, I mean, like with the early ones, I mean, it was, I can't remember if it was maybe in like Coventry or something. They were doing like the multiplays, like the I-53 or something, but I remember going to one, and it was just really cool because it was the first time like I was casting, and they had like the players on stage, and there was like a crowd. And like it was an event obviously where there's a lot of different games going on, but I remember I casted, and after I finished casting, like I think like a dad came up with his kid, and he said he didn't know what was going on, but he said he enjoyed my casting. He was like, oh, I really like how excited you were. It was really fun to watch. He didn't know what was going on, he didn't know the game, but I thought that was just really cool, really nice, and just getting to do it in front of a crowd. I think that was like I-53, I want to say, or maybe I-52. It was around that sort of era of the multiplayer I-series. I think it was like in the Rico Arena or something in Coventry. But then obviously since the more recent memories, every time we come to Birmingham, really, all the ESL 1 Birminghams have been amazing so far. The crowd's been amazing. I really hope that this continues to be like a yearly thing. It sort of showed signs of becoming that when they did 2018, 2019. Obviously then we had a break, but now we're back this year. I think this year it seemingly has been a really good success. The crowd's been amazing. I think the viewers love it, the fans here love it. I think ESL is going to be very happy with how well this has gone. So yeah, I'm just hoping we come back to the UK every year, really.
So you said you like grew up around Leicester, so you probably have a bit more experience with Birmingham than most. So what's your thoughts on like Birmingham as a city, being here for events and everything around it?
No, I like it. I've had like some family members. They went to like university in Birmingham. They studied in Birmingham. Parents visit here a lot. They come to see musicals and things. I went to see a musical the other night, and obviously they came here as well to come to the event. They came here to check out what I was doing and see what I was doing in the flesh, which was really cool. But no, I like it. Yeah, I've never had any problems here. I don't normally live back at home. I don't live in the city, so I don't get to really experience city life a lot. So it's always cool to visit. I never would want to personally live in a city. I kind of prefer the more rural living, but I love coming to these places to visit, especially mainly for like the food options. You know, especially when you're used to living in like some small town. Every time you come to a city, especially Birmingham, there's just so many great options. You know, you open up your app and suddenly you can order whatever you want from wherever you want, and it's good. There's some really like top tier stuff. I mean, like I don't not live in the UK anymore. I live in the Netherlands, and one thing we don't have, at least not where I live, is there's not a lot of very good Indian food. But like you come here, and we went somewhere like Dishoom, and it's amazing, like the quality of food that you can get. So no, I love the food here. And of course I love the people. The crowd here in Birmingham is definitely one of the best crowds that we get when we're doing these events around the world. They're just having a great time. They're super friendly. Everyone comes up to you. Everyone wants to say hi. And it's just a real pleasure to be here, and the fans are just loving it.
So just going back to food a bit here. So obviously UK is known for some staple foods, Greggs, Nando's.
Yes. Oh yeah, Greggs. Yeah, Greggs is.
So from like Greggs and Nando's, what is your go-to order?
I say, well, I go with the Greggs side of things. Like Nando's, I've only been to a few times. I think kind of where I grew up in the UK, we didn't really have a Nando's, so it wasn't really a thing. But we did have a Greggs, so I'd always go to Greggs on my lunch break. And my Greggs staple would be I'd get a steak bake and a sausage and bean cheese melt and a one of the roast chicken salad baguettes. If they don't have that in stock, I'll get the tuna one instead. And normally a pack of crisps. It was a pretty big lunch, you know. I ate a lot of Greggs on my lunch break, but it was good. So, and obviously Greggs we do not get at all outside of the UK, as far as I'm aware. At least not in. I live in the Netherlands. We don't get in the Netherlands, and honestly, they don't even do anything really very close to it. You can't get that sort of kind of steak bake or sausage and bean and cheese melt experience. So yeah, every time I come back here, it's the first thing I'm picking up. They've got one at the airport, so as soon as I land, it's like, well, I'll pick up a Greggs on the way in. And I mean, already the memes are big in the crowd. You know, people love Greggs here, and I do hope that somehow we're maybe able to get them as a sponsor next time. I mean, to be fair to them, they kind of don't need to, because everyone in the crowd's holding up Greggs signs anyway, so it's probably a waste of money for them to sponsor. But if they want to cash in on the memes, they should definitely hit up ESL and get themselves on the next ESL one if we come back here.
Have you ever seen any of the Greggs clothing and Crocs you can get?
I'll tell you what, Pyrian Flax, one of the hosts here, he's got a lovely blue sweater with it's like a blue Greggs Christmas sweater. So they've got the merch, so they need to get onto ESL, get in with the sponsorship, and get some merch on the talent. Crowd will love it. It will go down a treat. We got to get a hold of Greggs.
And then just a final question. Obviously, you've a massive talent in Dota with casting. You casted all over the world. What has been like your favourite places to go, purely just for casting? Like the overall trip for this one tournament was really good, or?
I mean, yeah, it's everywhere's very different, and everywhere's got kind of good things going for different reasons. Regardless of where you go, the fans are always great. I love meeting the fans in different parts of the world. It's super awesome. Just a super lucky experience for me to get to meet so many different people from so many different parts of the world. Southeast Asia is always really cool because the fans, even though Birmingham crowd does get close to rivaling them in terms of loudness, but typically this SEA fans are the loudest. So we always get crazy crowd experiences there. I do. It's hard for me to kind of pinpoint a single place at the moment, especially because of the past. I've been lucky enough to fly a lot. I kind of prefer the events that are a bit closer to home. So like Birmingham's great. It's a small trip, and anywhere in Europe is always nice and convenient. So I enjoy the convenience right now. No, I've been at lots of brilliant places. And one of the crazy ones recently, obviously, was we went to like Bali, and it was this tournament that was hosted in this crazy kind of hotel resort, right on the coast, which was absolutely beautiful. So, in terms of kind of prettiness, that was definitely the prettiest place that I've been to for a LAN.
All right. Thank you very much. That's
no
no
worries.
question. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you.